patience there. I was just finishing up on another meeting.
Yeah, no worries.
How are you feeling today?
Good. I'm happy to help out Simone. I love
Abs-
her, so
Absolutely.
yeah.
How can you be in Simone's life and not love that woman? You know,
Right.
she's fantastic. I'm just going to bring my note taker in here
Cool.
for a moment, but give me the basic rundown, Taylor. Where's Taylor in the world right now?
I'm in Denver. I
Okay.
moved here in August, kind of doing like a whole or yeah, what I call my quarter life crisis. Um, Starting a new career back in school. And around the same time as when I started working with Simone, I just was like feeling like it was a perfect time. I had a lot of momentum, um, being in a new environment, feeling really motivated.
Hmm.
And um, yeah, I found her just, she had like popped up on my Instagram and I really related to her content, talking about how she used to train in a very masculine way. I feel like that's why I had been
Hmm.
training for so long, just like,
Yeah.
lifting weights and thinking any other form of like exercise, like Pilates or yoga, was just kind of like gimmicky and like you're not really getting a workout, things like that. Um, and then yeah, seeing how it transformed her, I felt very inspired. I had been feeling or hearing a lot about cycle syncing and feeling like that was something that would be good for me. So we actually first connected just because she was trying to crowdsource and get people's opinions on things, and it was supposed to be like a 15-minute call and we had like a really similar backstory, so we ended up having to
Hmm.
schedule another call to actually get the information that she was hoping for. And then yeah, I have been working with her ever since.
Wow. Wow. It doesn't surprise me that the natural alignment is almost, I say it's like magnets, but it's true magnetism. Like we find the people that are supposed to be there for us at a certain time and have those exchanges. Would you say that's the case of what happened with you and Simone there?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, like the fact that we had such similar, um, I guess I could say trauma, but just similar life
Hmm.
experience growing up, and like what led us to be, you could say, like in a more masculine energy and masculine mindset, just stuff with our family. Like it was almost the exact same story. Um, so yeah, I think it was divine timing and all of that. Um, and yeah, it's been a really great fit. And she's definitely a lot more than just like a fitness coach. She's so big on like the mind body connection. So she's almost like a therapist too. We've been definitely working like just as much
Mm,
as we do, like physical exercise and diet stuff. I feel like we've done a lot of like mental work too.
mm,
So yeah, she's become a friend at this point as well.
mm. I love how we're already so casually flowing into this, but allow me to just give a little bit
Right.
of structure. But it's gonna be like it's gonna feel like a little bit of an interview, but it's just this. It's just what we're
Sure.
doing.
Yeah.
But what I will say, because I realized watching back with the last couple of people that I was fortunate enough to interview, I didn't really give any context to who I was. So just in 10 seconds, I'm working with Simone in the back end to make sure that Biohacker is serving people in the best way possible. So success coach or whatever that means, I'm just part of the team. I'm part of the mission. I feel fully aligned. And the most important thing about me, Taylor, is I do not even spend time with people that aren't aligned with purpose.
Mm.
They're driven by a mission and they're heart orientated. So they actually operate through their heart center rather than their mind too much. And
Yeah.
that's what brings me here. That's what brings me with you. The main thing that would be amazing, it would be an over delivery, in fact, if we just get an insight from you, Taylor, your journey with the context of what that would look like if someone else is just considering that
Hmm.
alignment with Simone and some kind of working dynamic, what that journey was like for you, what it's been like throughout, and what you think's changed. And it'd just be a series of natural questions if you're down to just we're already
Yeah.
flowing. It's been great so far. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I'm going to squeeze this in. Your hair is fantastic, by the way.
Thank you.
Is it
I was
like
trying to make sure it looked good for the camera
is
earlier.
it a tint of red there? Is it like a
It
tint of red?
is. It is. Yeah, it's actually
Um,
washed out, so it's usually a little more vibrant, but it is showing pretty well on the camera.
well, my first question then, going off the back of the beautiful hair, before Simone, life Taylor's experiencing, she's wandering through, floating through wealth. How was that before you met Simone? And what was it that mainly you was looking for or seeking?
Yeah. So in regard to like my fitness part of my life, I had been working out and dieting regularly since I was like a sophomore in high school. Um, I was always like bigger than most of my friends. And later I realized that I had polycystic ovary syndrome. So like it was nice to finally have, I guess, some type of medical reason to understand why me putting in so much work and trying so hard wasn't really translating in my physical appearance as much. And so that's what I kind of believed for a long time. But just going through my own healing journey and kind of learning more about the mind body connection really, and understanding how, a lot of this stuff that we go through and the trauma that we experience, while of course it's present in our mind, it really does manifest in the body as well. So I
Mm,
think there was a lot of stuff that I just like hadn't really worked through in my body.
mm,
And yeah, Simone is very big on like the mind body connection, but also a woman's connection to femininity.
mm,
And that was another thing that I had kind of come to terms with in my own healing journey, that I was very much living more in like that masculine mindset and valuing independence and being strong, and obviously physically, but also just in emotionally and how I presented to the world. Um, so yeah, finding her stuff on Instagram, I immediately gravitated towards her focus on that more masculine feminine balance and being more in your femininity as a woman. And then also with the cycle syncing, I feel like,
mm.
as women, we feel a lot of shame around our periods, especially when we're younger. It's just not really talked about. I remember when I first got my period, I felt like I had like sinned or like done something wrong. It was just like this very natural process. Um, so yeah, kind of just like unlearning all that stuff and being able to like reconnect with my body as well as my femininity was something that really aligned me with Simone. And I think her popping up on my For You page came at the perfect time in my life and like where I had gone. Because yeah, like I said, I pretty much knew everything there was about working out. Like I tried many different diets and like nothing was just really working. But once I started working with Simone, she was so big on being in flow. And,
Mm,
you know, this shouldn't be like a diet or like this short-term routine that I'm doing. It should really just be like a lifestyle change. And I should allow myself to have grace in moments where, there's going to be days that I don't really feel like going super hard at the gym, or there's going to be times where I'm really craving something, and not being so restrictive and kind of unlearning so much negative language around food and negative perceptions around my body was something that's been really transformative for me.
mm.
Um, I feel like I used to demonize food a lot, which I think a lot of people do. And
Yeah.
so kind of just like unlearning,
Hmm.
all food is good for me, like everything has its place. Like, yeah, just being in that flow has really been transformative. And I think not focusing so much on like losing weight, looking a certain way
Mm,
has allowed my body to actually get closer to how I want to look without putting so much pressure on myself.
mm.
And Simone's been really empowering in that regard.
Yeah, that's so, first of all, it's so beautiful and fantastic. Everything you're sharing over delivers to me the ingredients that gives me a follow-up question. Not to take away anything from your empowerment, your sense of independence before, but there's a clear sign when I'm speaking with the people that Simone's work with, and you, Taylor, you showcase almost the entire package. Like in the transcript of everything you just said, is the entire package that really tends to be obviously what Simone's clients are experiencing. My question is, it's so hard to get that across in marketing. It's very
Mm-hmm.
hard to get that across because it's coaching or it's cycle syncing. There's a few buzzwords that we
Yeah.
explore and experiment with. What would you say to someone that isn't in the inside and experienced it, that
Mm-hmm.
wants to understand what it is from your own perspective?
What like understand what cycle syncing is
Like,
and
because there's so many things. How do you
yeah.
describe everything you just described? That, oh, it's this. How would
Right.
you, if you had to, how would you package that? Because it's challenging,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah. Um, I think the buzzwords are easy to kind of like encompass things really quickly, but in terms of what we actually sit down and do, Simone provides like a lot of really great documents that succinctly summarize all of those things. I mean, this was one of the conversations her and I had before I got, or right when I was getting started. Like, yes, there's so much information online. You really can teach it yourself, but like most of us don't really have the time to like deep dive into these things. Like everyone has their own life, responsibility, work, whoever they have to take care of in their life. So to have somebody there who's already done so much of that work and deeply understands it and then just gives it to you in a really digestible way was so nice. And it just taught me more how, I mean, it breaks it down so simply. Like there's 4 different phases in your cycle. Women are on a 28-day, more or less, hormone cycle, as opposed to men who are on just on like a 24-hour. So there's a lot more to like juggle and balance there. But yeah, she makes it clear, you know, in this part of your cycle, it's good to be eating this type of food and you might be feeling this way. And so just pick up on those cues from your body. She really is big on like us just trying to tune in to our inner voice, our inner self, and like your body knows what it needs. And there's just so much outside voices and programming that kind of gets in the way of us being able to like listen to our own bodies. And I think if I had to like summarize it all, I think that's what Simone's really getting at in terms of the diet and exercise. But then on top of, you know, the more traditional like fitness coaching stuff, she also is like that mental coach, like I was saying, like more like a therapist. So she also has really great exercises and like journal prompts and different stuff that you can work through to really get clear and more aligned on like the woman you want to become is what she always says.
Yeah.
You know, I think we all have an idea of who we want to be, and here we are, and here's that idea. It's kind of hard for us to get there sometimes, but through the physical work and that more mental and emotional work, she really helps like draw the line between the two and get us on the path to be who we want to be.
I can't resist the urge to say all these little things in the gaps, which is I completely understand now, because your name has been mentioned in some of our calls. I completely understand, Taylor. First of all, what's emanating from you is your natural energy and passion for how important this is for women also. This is something that just isn't just for you. And it's just like, well, Taylor had this experience and this is great, and then move on with life. There's a collective that seems to be coming with people that are working with Simone, that you understand that this is a bigger mission for more and more women to understand. Would you say that's true for you?
Yeah, 100%. And that's kind of like what my career change is geared at. Like I was in accounting. I got my master's in accounting, and that just was like not for me. And now I'm studying to become a therapist, like mental health therapy, but I definitely envision like a more well-rounded holistic approach, kind of similar to what Simone's doing. Just because I think there's so much more to healing than people realize. And I think women specifically have a lot to work through and a lot to heal through. And it's just more than diet, exercise, or talk therapy, you know, really mind, body, spirit, holistic stuff. And I think it's so inspiring. Like you do see so many more people coming into that kind of mentality, realizing that there's a lot that we don't see, a lot that we're not told, that can be so helpful to us and transform as humans and spiritual beings.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be fair to say, and please disagree with me if this doesn't resonate with you, but it'd be fair to say this is not a plan from a fitness coach. This is very deep in terms of self-exploration and realization. It's very spiritual. It's very faith-orientated. And it's actually very much, I love what you said, because for lack of a better term, there is an awakening happening. There's an awakening happening with us because we see the problem for so long. It's often what needs to happen in our own lives, right?
Yeah.
There's this problem that keeps reoccurring till it gets really bad and we change it. The light now, even I just see the light coming through your window. It's like very fitting. You're in a different time zone and this light's coming through. You're speaking it, and it's enlightening to the bigger picture that gap that you talked about, and this will form into a question. How can people understand, Taylor, that the amazing tools and resources that Simone has for download, you can download those, you can purchase those, they can just be things that you do in your own time, how vastly different it is to what's actually needed that's hard to put on paper in that gap to get there? What would you say to someone that's like, why not get a plan? Why not just download the plan?
No, totally. And I get that. And even as somebody who's like I said, I feel like I really do have a good understanding of what foods are good and, well, I don't use that. No more good and bad. What foods work for me and what don't. Or and definitely with exercise, like it's all stuff that I knew or that I could easily find online. But for me, what has been so great, honestly, is I would say number one is the accountability, like having somebody that I check in with every week. I definitely think it's really easy to get complacent and it's really easy to get distracted when there's so many other responsibilities on people. But having someone that we are kind of responsible to really helps keep on track every week.
Mm.
And I mean, yeah, like it does cost money,
Yeah.
and that's
Mm.
just how the world works, and Simone deserves to get paid for all her hard work. But I think also having that financial skin in the game is another good motivator for me. Because it's like, okay, if I'm investing in myself in this way, like I really need to like walk the walk as well. It's not, I don't just like put a credit card
Mm.
down and then something happens. Like I put the credit card down and whether I do something or not, like that money is gone.
Mm.
So I might as well
Mm-hmm.
make the most of that money. But in terms of what you're actually getting back with Simone, I feel like she obviously I'm not sitting in on her sessions with other people, but she really does take a personalized approach to each of her clients. Like she gets to know you, gets to understand your past, gets to understand your triggers, what you like, what you don't like in terms of working out, where you're at mentally, emotionally, and is able to tailor and curate what she says, what workouts she programs, what diets or meal plans she suggests. It's really not just like a one size fits all thing. You really are getting like a very personalized experience. And I think
Mm.
that's why I've been able to see so much success with this. Like I've tried so many diets, I've tried so many
Mm-hmm.
exercises, I've worked with other coaches, and nothing has been as helpful as working with Simone.
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, I think her and I really connect as people. So like that's an important thing. I would say at the very least, just like get on a consultation call and see how it goes.
Mm.
And if you resonate, if you're on the same page, like, yeah, like obviously there's a financial thing involved, but like I really don't think you have anything to lose by trying.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love, there's a fitting component to you being an accountant or a master's in accountant, because to me, what the investment is, two things. It's stored energy, money,
Mm-hmm.
really. So it's a storage of time and energy that you've got somewhere else that you're putting into this new thing for the future self. I talk about this with Simone, so this is relevant to share with you. Everyone, not just some people, everyone needs accountability. They need that external force bigger than them. Some people, it's God.
Mm-hmm.
But God is amazing, but he's not there serving breakfast for us. So he's not there giving us a phone call. He's not there in that practical third
Right.
dimensional realm. The missing piece tends to be accountability that stops people knowing what they want to do, get to where they want to be, and achieving it or not. Would you say that twofold, having someone there is great? You mentioned the investment side of things as well. When you put skin in the game, there's that side of things. Would you say that there's anything, Taylor, that could, and be honest here, is there anything that could go wrong or not get someone to their result if those two things are in place, accountability and the right guidance?
Yeah, I mean, I think it ultimately comes down to you. Like it's how much you're willing to invest and like follow in the program. And, I could easily come to the meetings every week and be dishonest to Simone and myself
Mm.
about how much I'm actually putting in every week, how well I'm fueling my body, how if I'm actually completing the workouts or not, or just doing half of them and then saying like, oh, whatever. So, the accountability is great. Having somebody who has all this knowledge and can tailor the program to you is amazing. But at the end of the day, you're just left with yourself and how much you're willing to put in.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a bit of pressure
Mm-hmm.
on the person.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I
There's a
think, pressure is a privilege, and who better
mm,
to be under pressure for than yourself?
pressure is a privilege. I love that. Yeah, because we speak about the communication during the process of onboarding that we don't
Mm-hmm.
pressure anyone. but there's always a self pressure that you can't get rid of for people.
Mm-hmm.
And pressure also being a form of compression. People say that pressure creates diamonds and all that sort of stuff. It's a good
Mm-hmm.
analogy, but can you liken any time in your life where you've really experienced a significant benefit that didn't come with a little bit of pressure or nerves?
Yeah, no, I think everything that's worth it in life can be a little nerve-wracking and can feel either like pressure or there might be some fear there. But I think on the other side of that, it's always more rewarding.
Mm.
You know, people think, and there's a time and place for being comfortable. And I think the real problem is when comfort turns into complacency
Mm.
and you're not really living your life to your full potential, or you're not really getting all the beautiful experiences that life can offer because you're comfortable or complacent or you're afraid. So yeah, I think that challenge is necessary for growth and improvement in this experience and as a person. And I don't think people should shy away from it. But I also want to make the distinction, like, the pressure should not be from external forces
Mm-hmm.
or your society or what parents say you should be like. Like, you need to look inward and think, okay, who am I doing this for? Am I doing
Mm-hmm.
this for me, or am I doing this for somebody else? Like, what do I really want? Because if you are acting for someone else, you will not get where you actually feel that happiness and that reward from your hard work,
Mm.
because it's not really what you want. You're just
Yeah.
moving towards somebody else's goal. So I think you got to be clear on that. For so long, I think I was working towards the goal of what my parents wanted me to look like, what my parents thought was valuable in society.
Mm.
And I had to reconcile with, okay, what do I actually want? What do I
Mm.
want to be? And I think that was also a big game changer.
Mm. I have two main questions to squeeze in before we close. But the way that you're expressing so transparently and openly is very refreshing, actually. It's always helpful to see other human beings that are just speaking and flowing as they communicate rather than overthinking it. I love that. I think that's something that strengthens relationships, and relationships really being what life is about. For you, Taylor, was there a significant moment that you experienced leading up to working with Simone that made you realize there's no way I can continue to do what I'm doing or go back? Was there a significant moment you feel like you can share that made that leap of faith, which is what it is in a form, possible for you?
Yeah. This is going to be another long-worded answer.
Hit me.
Well, yeah, so right before I had started working with Simone, I had just gone through like a big life change. I was living in Houston, Texas, working in accounting. I had my quarter life crisis where I was like really taking stock of my life and looking at what the next 30 years looked like, at least in my professional life. And I was just like, oh shit, this is not conducive to my interests. It's not even really what I'm good at. It's not what I value. Um, and then on top of that, unfortunately, with just the way that the accounting culture works, like, it takes up so much of your time. So it's very hard for it to not bleed into your personal life and your mental health and physical health and everything else. So I had really fallen into like some bad habits. Like, I just didn't have the time to like cook for myself or eat as well and working out. So yeah, I had gained weight, and that definitely affected my self-esteem after somebody who's been so obsessed with that stuff for most of my life, unfortunately. Um, so yeah, and also it's just, aside from the aesthetics, like, I just wasn't healthy on the inside. Like, I know the importance of moving your body, not just for aesthetics, just your whole, all your organs and everything just benefit
Mm-hmm.
so much from a healthy lifestyle. And of course, food is fuel. And if you're not feeding yourself the right stuff, that's not good for your insides or your outsides. Um, so yeah, it was, then I was able to, go to school, move, decided on a new career, starting a new education path, being in a new city. I was just in this momentum of change, and I definitely wanted to like reestablish myself in like a more healthy lifestyle when it came to, physical activity and how I was fueling my body. Um, and then yeah, like, going into a field where I'm supposed to be helping people with their own mental health issues, I definitely realized, I mean, I'd known this for a while, but I definitely wanted to really lock in, you could say, about my own stuff and what I still needed to work through. That way I could come to people better. But funny enough, actually, the day I had signed up to work with Simone, I had just come back from a trip with my family for my dad's birthday. We were by a beach. I was in a swimsuit. My father's always been very critical of people's bodies and definitely my own. And he didn't say anything on the trip about how I looked, but the day after I signed up with Simone, he called me on the phone and told me that him and my mom were worried about me. They were saying that they feel like I'm not taking care of myself, that I'm lazy, all these things. And I just turn into like a little kid again and I just start crying. I can't even help it. It's just that negative, those outside negative voices that have had such a big impact on my life for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter, I've tried to work through it and
Mm-hmm.
come into it on my own. But yeah, it was just really interesting timing, not even 24 hours after I had made this decision to really like better myself and move into like a healthier lifestyle again. I was met with this challenge, you could say, from the universe about all my insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me, and yeah, it like I was saying earlier, it was a good wake up call too, to be like, okay, who am I doing this for? Like
Mm.
obviously after you hear something like that, it might motivate you more because you're hearing these external negativities. But I was like, no, I can't be doing this for them. Like I'm doing this for me. I already was doing this for me before I even knew that my parents were talking about me in this way. And my dad giving me that phone call and telling me what he said, like that shouldn't change anything. Like I'm still doing this for me. I made this decision for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I should be really proud of myself for doing that.
Wow. Your vulnerability is inspiring. The way that
Thank
you're
you.
expressing, honestly, I cannot tell you just the value. Whether someone decides to work with Simone or not is almost irrelevant now to seeing you as an inspirational figure that is literally in front of me, just knowing you for however long, transforming and opening up and actually becoming, you're not adding things are removing from you, things are leaving you. So your purer self is actually shining through. I want to be very disciplined here and not turn this into a conversation between Charlie and Taylor because I would love to stay connected with you actually and just
Yeah,
share more. But
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
have one final question for you. Simone is transcended, right? So
Mhm.
Simone and everything that works through Simone and what comes with working with her in such a close capacity, amazing. Now, this last question is for you, Taylor. What do you feel you're able to better serve the world with as a result of making that decision, and call it an investment also in yourself, and what comes from that for the rest of your purpose, for the rest of your life? Do you feel this is no wrong or right answer? This is just an
Yeah.
opportunity just to hear you express it.
Yeah. Well, this might get into more of like my spiritual esoteric beliefs, but I really do feel like, the inside translates to the outside into the physical world. One of the teachings of Eckhart Tolle is that to heal the world, we have to heal ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And they believe that like the reason we see so much negativity in the world is because there's so much negativity and turmoil within ourselves, and that gets manifested into our physical reality.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so many times people think to change the world, it has to be these big actions and it has to be very widespread and you're impacting a lot of people or a lot of people are seeing it. But my personal belief is if people can really start healing themselves, we can heal the world. And so I think just by healing myself and loving myself, accepting myself without even trying, I don't have to say it. It's just a vibe that people pick up on. I've seen it when I'm in a better place and when I'm in a lower place. People pick up on that energy and it inspires them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's not anything that I say or necessarily anything I do, but it's just this contagious vibe, you could say,
Mm-hmm.
that
Yeah.
people pick up on. And I think humans are much more intuitive creatures than we realize. And there's so much working at the subconscious. So I think, again, even if it's not something so direct, physical, verbal message, people are going to be inspired by each other. The more that we heal, the more that we learn to love ourselves, the more love will be spread to each other. And yeah, in a more literal sense, I think me healing myself and like learning all these things and talking to so many different people and understanding how complex and beautiful the human experience is, which I feel like has been just highlighted in my work with Simone, again, through like the mind, body, spirit, and realizing how interconnected all of our past, present, and future is, will definitely propel me to, again, be better with myself. But I can carry it into my relationships, my friendships, my family relationships, but definitely into the work I do in my career with other people, as I eventually will help people on their own healing journeys.
Thank you so much for doing the work and bringing that articulation as the way that you expressed it today. I'm not going to saturate anything with more words, Taylor. You've been absolutely incredible to listen to. I really appreciate you.
Thank you.
The contagion element you speak about is a form of harmonic resonance. And I imagine this kind of a little, just like cheeky thing today, but I imagine people that aren't ready for that run a mile from you, and people that are ready for it flock to you like moths to a flame. And I can see where the long-term vision of this, it's purpose driven to actually just connect people closer to their nature. I feel if you put it really down to everything, it's close to our nature, more self-awareness, more self-realization. And on a closing point, what I really taken from a lot of these quote interviews is this isn't some you're looking to be on stage, this is balanced and integrated into life, so it's long term. And you explaining it in the way that you have gives me more and more scope of how I'm helping Simone actually to make sure that she's able to continue to provide and not get sucked into, which can online, sucked into the tasks that aren't her power and skill. I think it's incredible. I really appreciate speaking with you. I courtesy always say, is there any questions you have for me? But other than that, I'm feeling pretty complete here. How about you?
No, yeah, this was great. It was so nice to get to talk to you. And you've come up in our sessions as well. So it's nice to put a name to the face or face to the name and everything. Yeah. How
Taylor,
did you start this journey? Yeah.
With Simone?
Yeah. Or like your coaching business at large?
That's a great question. So for me, purpose has always been a big focus. And I recognize that my purpose was, what does Charlie tend to do in a room, in a social dynamic, anywhere? Because I have a mantra that's, if I can, I must. So in school, if I could make people laugh in class, I'd make people laugh in class and stuff like this. And I began to realize similar paths of my own hardship and a lot of negative voices around me. But I started to realize, particularly the biggest blow up point was 2020. I went, oh, I'm not like everyone else. Confirmed, done, dusted, contract signed. Absolutely am I no longer believing that there's a humility to not feeling like you're different to anyone else or whatever that looks like. And I naturally have always been a therapist and a counselor and someone that people come to. And I've just learned to alchemize that into, I see my life as a business. I was literally just saying on a meeting that if I'm washing up, I do it as a professional. Everything's systemized, organized. I'm fully aligned and living and fulfilling my purpose. And to summarize it, some people call me Magneto, but some people like gravitate towards me because they know I'm not here. Money is an important part because money is an energy and it enables things to scale and have a healthy relationship with it. But the primary focus has to be service. And I'm serving something bigger than myself. And when I meet people like Simone, which was just happening through network, names drop, I'm very referral based. It made sense. And I feel I call myself the soil
Mhm.
you might not see me much. You know, in this case with Simone, actually, it might be a little bit unusual to see me as much as I am, because I'm a big support for biohacker and the business side of things.
Mhm.
But I'm the soil, and I've fertilized systems and the ground for people to feel rooted and grow. And I allow Simone, even in this meeting, if maybe it was the way it was, but there's a sunflower emoji that I'm using with all the things that are relating to Simone, because she's the flower that's supposed to shine. And my
Mhm.
purpose is not to not shine in my own way. Like I happen to be in a corner right now, like for the metaphor, but shy away in a corner and be like, whoa, I'll let other people. No, I just feel like my purpose is to get out of the way of what people are looking to do and strip back the layers so they can remember, not even learn, remember what they're actually supposed to be doing. It's a very long-winded answer, maybe,
Yeah,
to your question,
it's
but does that
okay.
give you some clarity?
Yeah, absolutely. And I totally resonate with the yeah, the purpose to like help people. That was also my one of the big things that kind of led me to deciding on this new career.
Mm.
I was always like the therapist that people came to, or my friend would always make fun of me. We'd be at like a party and she'd find me in the corner talking to some person I just met, and they're like
Mm-hmm.
telling me their whole life story.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to be able to cultivate that in a healthy way and like put that towards my career, and yeah, like a way to make money, because inevitably that's something we all have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's stay connected and continue to talk about that, because I immediately feel harmonic resonance with you, and things are always moving. So
Yeah,
I
I
there's
agree.
there's a lot of room there for more conversation. So Taylor, let's wrap this one up. I've got your
Sounds
email. Is it
good.
okay to send you an email?
Yes, please.
Amazing. Okay, Taylor, thank you so much. Again, anyone that's watched this and witnessed this, there is no plan, but the plan that just happens. And this has been an amazing example of Taylor's story. Thank you so much for sharing it. And
Sure.
if you do book in with Simone, just as a reference point, you may speak to me. So if you don't like me, it's just part of the process. Thank you,
Thank you so
Taylor.
much, Charlie. It was nice to meet you.
You too. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.